Hello everybody. I wanted to give you a video update. It's a little after 10:30 and for some reason I woke up at 2:30 in the morning. So I've been building for a full office day, 8 hours straight. No breakfast, no break, solid 8 hours. Um, Apart from getting my coffee and drinking some water. And I've pretty much completed making this as strong as it needs to be. And I'll give you a couple hints and tips along the way. But first of all, going down the core, I've added about 30% more pieces from that halfway point out. And I'm just going to reiterate a couple of the things that I've started to use to reinforce this. And I think I talked about them before. One is whenever I have these joints that are pinned in, and I'm using this as a hinge element, that single pin is not enough strength to keep it from wanting to pop sideways. So I use plate there, a brick. This one happens to be a 3 brick, and then sandwich it together. That way it's locked in place. You know, I'm using the Amy and Tyler locking method, even though it's not on a 90-degree turn, to really put that stuff in there. When I can't go sideways more, I am putting a plate on the top and on the bottom to lock it in. That one's locked. That is a super beefy. I didn't have room on the other side, so I doubled up, coming here, and then super layered it in because it wasn't feeling sturdy until I did that. It's just kind of, this is one of those things where you can't work out with a CAD program. You just gotta snap that piece together, and then you just know it. You know it when it's in place because everything just becomes a rigid whole, and there's not a lot of flex left in it. So it's kind of like building and then putting your finger in there, just wiggling around. But you can see that 4 big, beefy 3 wides going down, the 1 wide alternating makes an octagon. But throwing a lot of the brick in here, beefing that up, coming in with a lot of the custom kind of Technic elements that are used to join things 90 degrees where necessary. And then I talked about how that's locked in. If the ring wants to squeeze apart, I was using these Technic connectors on the outside edges of the ring, putting the lift arm in there, pinning it, and now that clamps this whole thing. It squeezes it together so it doesn't want to start popping apart if I lift. And then making sure I do that across every single junction. And you can see this 90-degree one here is sandwiching this to this. So each level now is interlocked and squeezed together at 90 degrees, running the whole length for all of them, all 8 spars. So that's part of what makes this pretty darn strong. And there was a couple, the other thing, it took me, I think it was 2 straight hours. 2 straight hours just to add this little junction on top coming out 90, the little thing here, addition downwards going 90, then pinning that in and getting, and I have fairly delicate fingers that can get in there, but trying to pin these in from the side when this angle is in the way, especially trying to work in the little piece on the bottom, the mirror image of this one down there with a 3 axle really sucked. But I'm glad it's done. Once I did that, that's where everything just all of a sudden came together. And there's that moment when you feel the model and you just know that it's strong. And the biggest test for me was taking this one piece and just taking my finger and being able to tip the whole model up like that. Right, that's going to be the greatest amount of stress from the beginning to the end. And if anything was going to tear out, it would have tore out there. So I know if I continue to lock this thing together, apart from the fins, haven't done that yet, but the whole core of this is now locked in and stable. So that little test really demonstrates kind of the strength of this thing now. What's really cool is I can grab it from any of the nodes, and apart from a little bit of creaking and the fact that it's really darn heavy, or getting pretty darn heavy, yeah, I can just grab it and I can usually just lift it, if I'm strong enough, lift it up, and the whole thing just moves as one, which is fantastic. The other trick from last time that I got a little bit into, but I'll go hands-free for this part, was it worked out really well to where I talked about how this is like a bridge turned as if it was vertical. So the top of the bridge, the bottom of the bridge as a truss, and then zigzagging or triangulating the truss made the outside circle and the inner circle locked together. Let's go normal scale. So I was adding in just tons of extra zigs, zags, zigs in there. Where's another new one? I think this is new. This one to there is all new. And then looking for those little opportunities to run it through the glass on the inside and run it up in there and interlocking that has worked really, really well. So building a truss on the verticals where these fins are, and then adding it in where I'd missed before. I'd never done it to the other side where there aren't fins. So on the other four elements in that octagon, this makes the main four. The other side of it was running that and also alternating the angle. So if that one goes in, this one flares out. Added that in, that's new. These two Technic bricks are now locked together because they were trying to separate as well. They're beefed in with this guy, pinned it together now at the core. And just so on and so forth. It just keeps, I can't even get the camera in now. We're getting into some tight spaces where it's just too hard to describe. But trust me, triangulated on all 8 sides going outwards, all locked together, vertical to bottom and pinned. And you can see some of those sandwiching techniques in there, sandwiching techniques there. There's a nice example. There's another beefy one. And trying to slide in the plates from the reverse side after it's built is definitely a little tough on the fingers. So I'll probably be feeling this. Although one of my thumbs now has got a callus where I can't really feel much anymore. There's another example of those beefy boxes. So I've just gone around the whole thing, beefed it up, scaled it up. And yeah, really, really solid. Totally swooshable. And ready for, where's that ring? Ready for that ring to go on top. And then from there, this would conceivably, lock in to that. But in order to do that, I don't think I can do it in the basement. It's just, the ceiling's only 7.5 feet. Well, maybe. If I'm eyeballing it, maybe. But really, I'd want to start working on the base for this thing and settling it into a cradle before trying to, and making sure it's stable, kind of sitting there before I try to merge and make sure these two, this whole thing connects, because I have a feeling that might be too chunky. It might not be a good look. But, only time will tell. It's kind of trial and error. That's how I build. Just trying things out, seeing what works. And yeah, I'm digging this softer, I don't know what to call it, blanket? Sewn thing. It's like a bed topper. I don't know what you call those. But yeah, having that folded up is much more comfortable. It's nice to have a white one in the back just to kind of match everything up. The washer and dryer, you guys always know that's like going to be my signature thing, is motos in front of the washer and dryer. But overall, oh yeah, sig fig. This is what my hair looks like when it's not pinned back in the ponytail. It's the only one I could find. That's what I normally wear. And that is, I'll call him A, because kids, I always do initials, but He was my original fan from when I first started to build my first mocks on Facebook. The son of a friend, ex-coworker. Wanted him on there to say hi. And yeah, just trying some things out. Super strong. Just loving it. And I'll just keep smashing away at this till it's done. Thanks for watching. Bye.